Hi, dear. Noah Road, Western Pennsylvania. Noah Road, stomping grounds, stealth camping stomping grounds. Here we are, live today. You're right in the heart of it all. Western Pennsylvania, beautiful Western Pennsylvania, Clearfield County. Noah Road, stomping grounds. Just thought I'd take a walk, give you a little tour of the area. Anyone who might care to watch. If no one likes it, well, it'll be there for me in the future as a video diary. A little record of my stealth camping journey 2025. I actually am really happy to be back stealth camping. I was in an apartment for a while, as some of you may know, because Noah Road's kind of getting up there in years. I've been traveling and hitchhiking for quite a long time in my life, and well, I needed a break, so I took a break, got off the road for a while, and I was blessed enough and fortunate enough to find the right landlord that could work with me for a very inexpensive price. Even at first, when I really didn't have the money to move in. Very nice person. Good people around here, especially, you know, compared to the national average that I see. Yeah, I just saw a deer before. I noticed there's a few people watching. I'm not sure if it's any of my regulars, but there was a deer when I first started the video. Yep, this is the heart and soul of Noah Road stealth camping stomping grounds, at least in the DuBois area. I have other heart and souls in my stomping grounds in different areas. One of them is in Clearfield and Bigler and Osceola Mills, and other in St. Mary's. I got about 4 or 5 areas that would be considered, you know, the heart and soul of my stomping grounds for stealth camping. You know, my familiar areas, the areas I'm familiar with. A lot of hunting in this area, and during certain times of the year, it's not best to be stealth camping in this part. But, you know, June through September, shouldn't be anybody out here. I'm actually getting off of this. I'm gonna dip into the woods here because I don't want anyone to see me. And there's a house across the road, and I'm just gonna kind of dip in here and, you know, out of sight, out of mind, you know. This part of the woods is pretty swampy. I've never actually stealth camped down here. I'm about a half a mile, maybe a little over a half a mile back the way that I just came from. I know there's a nice little area in here. I might be right over here, actually. Nice area where there's a footbridge that you can kind of cross the stream. Wow. I appreciate anybody watching. That's cool. Thank you all. As long as your intentions are good. I'm just a soul whose intentions are good. Oh Lord, please don't let me be misunderstood. That's a good song. I haven't heard that in a few years. Yeah, I'm just getting familiar with this area again. Kind of pretty, huh? I don't want to get mucky or muddy or wet, so I'll be a little careful. Boy, I'm getting in a lot better shape really fast since leaving that apartment. Yeah, I think this is the spot that I was looking for. Okay. Jump over the creek here. Whee. Oh, okay. There it is. That's what I was looking for. Okay. This is kind of fun. Pretty cool, huh? Out in the woods. Good spot to swim, huh? Or, you know, I have some environment friendly liquid soap made from hemp oil and stuff. So that's what I use when I swim in this creek. I swim in it about a half a mile upstream now. Yeah. And then you go that way, you go into like I guess it's like a hunting club or something like that. And they lease it to hunters, like the permission to go there and hunt during hunting season. There's a lot of those type of properties here in America. Well, I mean this part of Pennsylvania especially, but you know, America hasn't lost their guns yet, so. Oh. Oh, hey, what's up, bud? Oh, yeah. How you doing, Total Control? I think there's a cell phone tower pretty close to here. I think that's why I'm getting a signal. Ugh, I think I just got a, gosh, spider web in my face. Ugh. I call those angel kisses to try to make myself feel a little better when that happens. Angel kisses. Or I could say butterfly kisses. Let me see. Let me see. Now I'm going to come up to a place called Sebula. It's about maybe 1 mile from where I'm camping. Is everything coming through, Total Control? Amir, I think your name is, if I remember correctly. Amir? Which actually, that's a cool name. I remember you explained it because you reflect. Oh, look at this, a deer. Can you see it? There it is. All right, let me see if I can meander my way out of here. It's pretty gnarled and knotty. I think I'm going to walk down this way. What do you think of the landscape? I think that eastern Pennsylvania is actually prettier than western Pennsylvania. The hills are higher, and you know, the slopes are a little bit more steep and sharp, but this part of Pennsylvania is better for and more practical for me, because out east you got more homeless people and you got more uptight citizens and uptight laws, and you know, some of it's for good reason. You know, I do believe a town has the right to kind of defend itself against, you know, outsiders that come in and mess things up. But it's unfortunate that somebody like myself, who can handle, I guess, the responsibilities that come with stealth camping and freedom and stuff like that, you know, I have to unfortunately suffer for the sins, if you will, of the majority. I get dragged into it. That's why I'm so not very fond of homeless people, because very few of them are going to be doing me any favors. And there's no honor among thieves or crazies or drug addicts. I don't feel pity or a bleeding heart for people in Kensington that are all slumped over with a bunch of stuff hanging out of their arm. You know, of course I have pity on the suffering itself, but the people just disgust me. So that's why I stay on this side of the state, because there's no one else doing it like I'm doing it. I got the place pretty much to myself, although there is some homeless coming in, but it's just a few. In all of Clearfield County, they did a head count of homeless. I'm sure they didn't get them all, but they got most of them. And they came up with 10 that were actually sleeping in the rough. That's it, through the whole winter. And Jefferson County, they didn't get any. Now, if I was out east, there might be 200. And, you know, I like the area near Scranton. I like Hazleton and stuff, the looks of the area. Not right in the town, but in the area. You're out in the Poconos there. It's beautiful. But you got too much crime and too many bad elements. Unfortunately, I'm not a person that doesn't have any hope. I hold out hope for humanity. It's just I might not live to actually see the hope that I, you know, hold out for humanity. Let me see, I gotta stop and read. I'm just reading your comment, Amir. Yep. Well, I tell you, Amir, I admire your journey. I've watched you. You might not. You probably don't remember me, but I actually talked to you in 2017. I used to live in Florida. Then I didn't see your channel for a while, and then your channel got shut down, I remember, and then you restarted it, which was cool. I was happy to see, and then I started talking to you again. Thank goodness we got a lot of rain this year. I swear, I can't, let go of the idea that my life has had a lot of divine intervention. The timing has been perfect. I haven't gotten necessarily what I desire or want in life, but I've definitely have these needs that really depend on a hair point turn, suddenly just out of nowhere are met. And timing and, you know, being, delivered from, what other people would probably go through would be certain annihilation. I don't know. I have faith in God, in the Creator. Now, I think when I read, scripture or something like that, I feel in a way that I'm walking between two worlds. I definitely think there's a kernel of history in it, but I think everything's written like like superhuman and things, and I think it's written that way on purpose to let us know that there's more going on than meets the eye, and with every kernel of truth there's a metaphor. And I think people that love religion or love God, especially in the Bible, we have to be careful to keep our wits about us. So I believe in God, but I try to keep my wits about me. You know what I mean? I love, I don't think there's anything even remotely on par with the Tanakh, the Hebrew Bible. I'm just like surprised. You could study that for 100 years and you never stop growing and learning and finding amazing new aspects of it, or nuances of it that blow your mind. Answers to things that where you were just, I can't figure this out. Then all of a sudden you feel a sense of enlightenment when you read something else and you put it together and it fits just like a puzzle. That's pretty cool when that happens. But still, I like to keep some sense of balance. That tells me that when I'm reading it and studying it, I got to be careful to know I'm walking between two worlds, heaven and earth. And, there's going to be metaphor and you got to look at it through a metaphorical prism in some areas and not take it so literal. And I don't believe that people are held accountable if they don't believe, but are judged based on their ways, on their behavior, on their character, their motives, their heart. And if they are hostile or not hostile to the idea of God. These things are truly what characterize a person who can be judged favorably by God. We learned this with Noah and other people like that before the Torah was ever given. This is the Bible, and God doesn't want sacrifice, but a crushed and contrite heart he will not despise. So nobody could be held responsible for, not believing in a story, I don't think. When people start that, then, all hell kind of breaks loose. And, well, anyways, I'll get off of that. Just things that I think about and roll over in my mind all the time. How you doing, Greg? Just taking a walk in Noah Road Stealth Camping Stomping Grounds north of Du Bois. Just thought I'd take you along for the journey. And if nobody was here, I suppose I'd have it as a video diary. I could look at it in a year or two and remember. I might say something that I, am glad to say that I said or something like that. Let me see, how many bars am I getting here? Yeah, I'm getting, I think, 3 bars. Yeah, it's pretty mellow around here. People are pretty darn good overall. Going this way, about less than 30 miles now, probably about 27 miles, is St. Mary's, which is a very good town. In my opinion, they're a little reserved. And if you look a little like you don't fit in. They kind of like might not talk to you for a long time. But if you dropped your wallet, they would be like, "Hey, buddy, you dropped your wallet there." You know, I mean, they're pretty honest generally, and it's got deep family roots and things. So town's got pretty good character. You know, I like the town of St. Mary's. Johnsonburg is beautiful. It's got the high hills. I guess they could almost pass for small mountains. They're very beautiful. And there's a lot of spring water up there, which I think is so cool. I'm coming up on Sebula, which is where there's another train tunnel. Anybody that's been watching my videos knows that I've filmed a couple of train tunnels. One train tunnel I filmed in DuBois, like in town, but it's an abandoned train tunnel. They don't use it no more. And there's another one, a real big one, that's in Clearfield. And I just did a quick video, about 4-minute long video, I guess. I'd say a little over a month ago. And I was there. And now over here in a few minutes, anyways, in about five or 6 minutes probably, maybe 4, I'm going to come up on another train tunnel, which I haven't filmed this one yet. And this is called Sebula, Lake Sebula. Everybody tells me that people of Lake Sebula are stuck up. I don't know. I haven't met any or talked with them, but I'll take their word for it. I've heard that from more than one person, I mean. They don't have a lot to be stuck up about. It's not like it's a great community, but it is technically private. There's like a road that goes into it, and unless you know somebody, they don't want nobody there. But right alongside that community, it goes through that mountain over there. And it's a tunnel. I'd say it's about 4 football fields long to get to the other side. So it's long enough to be a little bit disorientating. But it's not as long as the one in Clearfield. The one in Clearfield is like a mile long. This is a branch line. It's there's not a lot of traffic on it. It's once a day, twice a day, maybe at the most. And sometimes you don't see a train on here for a few days. This just goes up to the next town, and there's a little mine, and the town's called Penfield. Huh. It's like an old shed or something down there. And here we are up at Lake Sebula. And I'll walk to where you can see the tunnel, if anyone's watching still. Okay, I'm sitting here sipping my black coffee and dreading having to mow. Oh, the lawn, okay. Central, yeah. Yeah, this is Central, slightly to the west of Central. That house is abandoned. Years ago, I actually went in it. The door was open, so I checked it out. Wouldn't do that now. Yeah, they're kind of gonna fix this house up here, I think. But yeah, you see, I look out for things. Oh, they might not fix that out. See, it had a fire. That's why it's abandoned. And then you got that. See, I look out for things like this when I walk around. Like, what if I was walking here and it's at night and I got kicked out of where I was camping and I was just roaming around and needed a place to get out of the rain or something? Right there, you know. You could pull that off for a night. I mean, you couldn't get too comfy in there. You couldn't just leave your stuff or anything. You'd have to be, you know, sharp on coming and going and leaving in the morning. But, you know, I think you could pull it off in an emergency, that little spot. See, that's what I look for. Okay, here is Lake Sebula, which I don't think is any kind of a big deal. But everybody says that they are stuck up, and I think they kind of are. I mean, they say no trespassing on the lake, you know? It's like, come on, man. What's wrong with me going up there and just taking a quick peek? They don't even like that, you know? And this is that little bridge inside of the woods. This is where that water comes from. This technically is not a lake. It's actually just this stream, and they dammed it off here and it made a wide spot. Huh. Yeah, I'm starting to get in better shape already. I was really surprised at how fast my body is responding. That year, I think I took about 16 months actually and devoted to just keeping the rent paid. And I was really surprised. Like, I haven't really worked out very much in like 7 months. Last year I worked out really good. I was watching Mike Menser videos, who was a bodybuilder from the 80s and 90s. He passed away, but he had amazing insight on bodybuilding, and it helped change me, you know, my life a little bit. So I was watching him last year and the year before. I was training a lot up in St. Mary's, and then I was training a lot actually the last 3 years, plus on the road most of the time. And then taking the time off like I did, I think it did me some good. So there is the train tunnel. I know this, the microphone sucks, but there's beautiful birds chirping. It's a lovely day, but I've listened to these live videos of mine, and it's so unfortunate that the microphone kind of sucks. Now I know this thing would cut out if I walk through here. There ain't no way there's going to be a signal if I walk through the tunnel. I've walked through the tunnel, and I'll tell you, on the other side of this tunnel, it's some pretty good wilderness area. It's pretty intense. I actually saw an elk once, and his antlers were humongous. It was so majestic. It was like there was this incredible elk, because we have elk up here, and they're mostly north of here in Elk County. They were transplanted here in the 1800s, so they've got a pretty good number of them, and sometimes you see them along the road, 20 or 30 of them feeding on people's in front lawns, and cars will stop and take videos of them. But I saw one, that's the furthest south I've seen it, and it was not too far from on the other side of that bridge. It was deep in the woods, but it was on the other side of this tunnel, I mean. Well, there it is. This here is the tunnel in Sebula. It's about 5, maybe 6 miles north of DuBois. And there's the hill up there that it runs under. And if I walk through it, I'm sure the signal would cut out because I'm live. I wish that you could hear the birds chirping. It's just so lovely out. I'm glad I could share this. That's the one cool thing about the modern age. I mean, there's been a lot of road trips I've taken in my life that I sure wish I had one of these cameras, you know, and if I can look back over it. I used to hop freight train around the country. I've rode freight train from, I don't know, all the way from out west, all the way to Buffalo, New York. Once I went to Buffalo. That's the furthest east I went. And I rode out of, like Toledo to Chicago, Chicago to like La Crosse, Wisconsin, La Crosse to St. Paul, St. Paul up to Moorhead, Minnesota, and Fargo, North Dakota, and then I'd, go on into Montana and then out to Spokane and, down to Pasco, and I'd cross the Columbia River Gorge, go out to Portland, Oregon, and I went down to Roseville Yards in California, and out to Reno Sparks, and from there went out to Ogden, Utah, and then take the bus down to like Salt Lake City from Ogden, and take Denver Rio Grande Western into, the Roper Yards south of Salt Lake. Take you on into Pueblo, cross the Rocky Mountains and stuff there, or else you can grab a Union Pacific and go out to Las Vegas and into LA. Yeah, I rode all, but or maybe last time I done a serious travel offer, and they're pretty much coming to an end. That, I know where that goes. That goes up into, it goes to the top, and you're looking at our lake. Uh, the had to work with it. I had to work with it. I've been able to get back on my feet again, and it seems again. I know that sounds ridiculous. For the first time, ugly awakenings, and at my age, I'm 55. I'm gonna be 56